Let's talk about placements, guys. What is a placement? What does it have to do with Facebook ads, and why is it important? Right. So we talked about how to choose age, gender, languages. We talked all about detailed targeting. Browsing through all the different demographics, interests, and behaviors. Now we're going to talk about the next section right here when you actually are building out the audience section of your ad, which is called placements. Show your ads to the right people in the right places. So when you actually go to create an ad, Facebook by default will check the automatic placements. And something that you want to be aware of is Facebook isn't perfect, and Facebook at the end of the day is a business, right? They want to make money, and by letting them choose automatic placements, they're going to show your ads at times, to places where you're not going to be as likely to succeed. And so leaving on automatic placements is generally not a good idea, and I'll tell you why. So let's say, for example, well, first let's talk about, what the different kind of placements are, right? All devices is by default recommended, but you can choose mobile only or desktop only. So for example, let's say that we were running like an Instagram only campaign. So we would uncheck everything, leave Instagram checked, and then if we did all devices, that means that they'd show our Instagram ads to people on desktop. And people who are browsing Instagram via desktop have literally never bought something from Instagram in their lives, or at least not in a ton of ad spend that we've done with Instagram. And so what we're seeing here is Facebook has the Facebook platform, the Instagram platform, Audience Network, and they also have Messenger, right? And so Audience Network is kind of like showing ads on like mobile banners and things like that in like apps and things. And so in-stream videos, native and banner and interstitial, and rewarded videos. And so Audience Network, I've never had a huge amount of success with, and generally, guys, about 90% of the time when you are advertising on Facebook, you're going to get the best bang for your buck and the best kind of reward and results from your ad spend from one place. And we're going to talk about that in a second. But it's important to understand kind of all of the different things that we have available to us. So we see that we have the Facebook feeds. Kind of this is what you're generally used to seeing when you're scrolling through your phone or on the computer. This is where you see people who post statuses and things like that. Instant articles is kind of Facebook's little foray into creating kind of like a news system. Instant articles you don't see as much. They kind of stopped promoting it as hard when it wasn't working as well as they'd hoped. In-stream videos, of course, are videos that you see. Right column, you'll see like literally on the right column, you'll have your feed kind of in the center, and then when you're on desktop, there's like the right column. It's kind of one of the places that doesn't get a lot of love. It's one of the cheaper places that you can advertise, but it generally doesn't get nearly as much results as my favorite place to advertise. But that being said, right column is okay when you are doing retargeting. When somebody recognizes you and you have a very pop out kind of eye-catching advertisement and you're retargeting to a super kind of already warmed up audience who recognizes you and your brand, right column does work okay. Otherwise, it's definitely a no. So instant articles is a no. Right column is a no. Suggested videos is interesting and it's okay. Marketplace, again, is like the Facebook Marketplace. If you're buying things, it's kind of like Facebook's version of Craigslist. Instagram, I think most of us are probably familiar with Instagram. There's both the feed on Instagram, kind of like when you're scrolling down your feed, you see friends posts and things like that. And then also, of course, stories, when you are watching stories and you're kind of going right and watching more and more stories, similar to kind of how Snapchat organized it. And then Instagram kind of got inspired or copied or whatever you want to say from that. Audience Network, again, is kind of like inside of apps and things like that. In-stream videos, again, inside of apps. Reward videos here. I've never had a huge amount of success from Audience Network. And then Messenger. So we see that Messenger has, both the home where you see, like literally see your all of your different conversations. They have an ad space there, and then inside of the sponsored messages, right? And so all of these are kind of good for different things, but I'd say that for 95% of us and 95% of the time, right? Unless we're running specific Instagram. I never run both Facebook and Instagram in the same campaigns just because they're different sizes. There's different optimizations for like, the size of your images. People just react and act differently on both Instagram and Facebook. And we're going to talk about that in, one of the future modules when we talk about, how to create the perfect ad. Because when you're creating ads for Instagram, you have to understand who your demographic is, how people interact with Instagram, right? It's much more visual. There's not as much space to actually, write what you want to say. And so if I'm running, a Facebook campaign and an Instagram campaign, I would run them separately. So to finish my point, 95% of the time, guys, we're going to uncheck all of these unless we're running a messenger specific. But we're going to uncheck every single one of these. And I know it seems like we're unchecking a lot, and we're going to leave feeds checked. With millions and millions of dollars of ad spend spent, across all of the different accounts and, with all of my different ad agency partners and people I've worked with, right? Most of the results we've gotten, and I'd say literally probably 80% or more of the positive results, like return on ROI, really explosively profitable campaigns have come from the Facebook feeds. And so one thing that I like to do when I actually am kind of working with the placements is I like to run a split test, and I'll do Facebook feeds mobile only. And then, okay, it unchecked everything again. So we'd have to uncheck these all really quickly. And I'll do mobile only, and then I'll create this, and then I'll duplicate the ad set, and then I'll change it to desktop only. And you'll see, like, even though it doesn't really make sense, you'll start to see that there's a huge difference between, how people react to certain advertisements when they're browsing mobile, they're on the move, maybe, impulse buys are a little bit more so, or they're bored on their commute or something like that. And when they're on the desktop, people react to advertisements differently when they're on desktop and when they're on mobile. And I like to see where I should focus my ad spend, whether it's, hitting people on desktop or hitting people on mobile. And so I'll run and I'll split test, when I'm creating an ad set. I'll do everything. I'll create all of my interest targeting, everything. I'll set it up all perfectly. And then when I edit my placements, I'll do feeds only. And then I will do desktop only. And then I'll duplicate it. I'll do feeds only, and I'll do mobile only. And you'll be very surprised, I promise you, that sometimes mobile outperforms desktop by 5 times, right? For every $1 you spend, you get $5 back on mobile, and you get $1 back on desktop. Or, it might be the other way. You get 3 times, the results on desktop than you do on mobile. But the point is, guys, you don't know until you actually test it. And so that is kind of what I do with my placements. It's definitely really important to understand kind of what what you're doing here, and don't just, go on automatic placements and let Facebook choose for you, because Facebook normally does choose things that are advantageous for you, but sometimes they don't. And so understanding, when to kind of, make your own choices and when to let Facebook's algorithms kind of optimize for you is super, super important. So Facebook feeds, desktop only, mobile only, instant articles I never really use. Right column we do use, but it's only when we're retargeting, right? When we have very defined custom audiences of people who've already come to our website, already been pixeled, and we're retargeting them. They're warm, they understand, who we are, our brand, and things like that. Then right column is okay because it's very cheap normally, but otherwise it just doesn't perform, and it's kind of a wasted ad spend. Instagram, again, the feed here and stories here are both fantastic, but by themselves, right? Never kind of collaborate Facebook specific campaigns and Instagram specific campaigns, just because the demographics are different, the ad sizes are different, and you want to optimize perfectly for both. Audience network I've never had a lot of success with, and so I generally just uncheck it and never actually use it. And then messenger specific we actually have had some success with, but we'll talk about that in later on when we talk about messenger ads specifically. And again, we'll talk about Instagram and how to optimize and make perfect ads for Instagram when we talk about Instagram in future modules as well. But for now, guys, 95% of the time, Facebook feeds, Facebook feeds, Facebook feeds, split test, desktop only, and mobile only. So that, guys, is placements, and why it's so important to edit the placements yourself and not let Facebook automatically place for you, because Facebook, again, is a business. They want to make money, and they make more money by showing your ads more places, even if those places they're showing them aren't the best option for you. So I hope you enjoyed that one, guys, and let's get to the next.